simple baseline to play around. You have two big, beefy members that can step forward, occupy a lot of space, and occupy a lot of attention of the enemy. And with both the Trundle and the J4 banned away for Aegis and the Ornn banned away from Guigo, Red have completely changed the script this time around. Carries in both jungle and top, not a tank in sight in the composition for the Red Canids. So definitely changing the game here for them in draft. We'll have to see how it plays out on the Rift as we are ready to go, ladies and gents. It is our third game of this best of 5. Kabum looking to make it 2 in a row. Red Canids looking to right the ship after a very rough second game of the series. And Duds the Boy's going to get caught out at level 1. That is going to be 1 kill. First blood there for Teton, and they're looking for 2. And guess what? The cat does not run flash. That is a kill for Grevthar. A 2-0 level 1 start for the Red Canids.
Yeah, so sharing is caring. We saw them split those across the 2 members who are looking to make the highest impact during this early game phase. The charm lands on Hausen, almost takes a turret hit, but does not quite. The Orb Deception is going to be able to make up for the sustain in this mid lane, so don't cry for Grevthar. He's gonna be okay. He has that passive Orb of Deception. He's gonna be okay on that Ahri. I don't want anybody to panic. Our mid game is going to be okay. The mid seems to be driving the action. If the mid is action packed, then so is the rest of the game here. So we're off to a pretty good start. We're off to looking for. They're literally just slap fighting. Yeah. So I can't even get a color caster word in edgewise.
It's just a little kind of mini grudge match here between House and Grevthar. They won't leave each other alone in this laning phase, and we'll see who it benefits here. Is the charm not going to land there from Grevthar? House will miss that skill shot as well. Both junglers nearby. Wiz taking chickens for the time being, and Aegis passing through that mid lane for the moment. The biggest question is a lot of action in both of our first 2 games has started in the top lane. It was the early punishes of Parang's Renekton in game 1. Guigo's Ornn got taken out and dove a couple of times early in game 2. So something tells me the junglers will be heading to the top lane early on. And speak of the devil, Aegis has arrived.
Clues.
It's almost like I set that up on purpose. Parang, better be careful.
Yeah, and again, I'm over speaking to Camille's usefulness, but she's one of my favorite champs. Look at this. Look at this gorgeous turret. This is absolutely one of the most beautiful level 2s I've ever seen just come out of these champions. So really artful stuff out of Aegis and Guigo on that first big act of war. It's a matter of whether or not Kabum can make up for these 3 kills that we have at 3 minutes and 11 seconds. I think they're going to be okay. It does look like Grevthar has caught the sense that he might be in a little bit of mortal danger and will head back top lane. That was close.
One more tick of Ignite would have taken Guigo down, but just a good job there from Aegis. Gets the flash stun onto Parang, and important to note, Parang not electing to bring flash, taking Ignite and teleport here on the Sejuani, relying on the Arctic Assault to be the sole tool of mobility there for the Sejuani, and it doesn't pay off here in the early game because Parang steps forward, is able to avoid the initial stun from Guigo, but doesn't have the Arctic Assault available as Guigo just able to stand in front of this Sejuani, deny the retreat to the tower, and an early kill there on the top side. And it's, not a surprise that the junglers have gone up there to get the ball rolling for their teams in this series. Grevthar going to get ganked there by Wiz. He's not going to go down as Aegis is there to back him up. And Kabum yet to pick up a kill here past the 4-minute mark.
A little too much damage there in the mid lane to actually be able to turn it around on their foes. However, we do see some aggressive pings coming out here on the bot lane, and they are going back, and then it looks like Aegis is going to go ahead and check on this dragon and maybe potentially help keep this lane on lock. I'm wondering if we're actually setting up for anything. No, he's going back. Okay, let's walk it back here really quick and talk about where we are in this top lane, this really exciting top lane that was such a problem for both Red Canids and Kabum in the last 2 games. They both managed to crack out these games in that top lane. I still think that the Sejuani, if allowed to just make it through this phase without feeding horrifically, without, 5 deaths, can actually still come out the other side of this more useful than Guigo on the Camille. But Guigo has to absolutely crush Parang on here, or else it's not going to work. So again, that's Red putting themselves up kind of on a higher pedestal, saying, I think we can get ahead in the early game to become this aggressive, single-handedly, sort of like drunken fighter team fight. But it is a matter of getting ahead. And look, they're already aggressively trying to fulfill this win con.
Yeah, no mana available here, and A just going to get up to the top lane once again. So this is really unfortunate because the Sejuani in the isolated 1v1 with the Camille is actually fine, right? Your early, like your base damages are solid. You're pretty just inherently beefy, so you aren't really under a ton of threat in the isolated 1v1. But the problem is Aegis is more than happy to invest resources in Guigo. We've seen it so far today. It is not going to stop now with Guigo now on a carry pick. So now Guigo has been started fairly well. Also, interestingly enough, kind of, building more into that scaling potential there, as the item that I cannot remember the name of here for the moment is Jojo is going to go down. What is that stacking item that the Camille has?
Are we both gonna do this right now? Are we both
Okay.
gonna die? I feel so bad right now.
It's okay. It's okay.
Hold on. Both of us.
The parade got the kill of the 1v1. Camille died.
We did it, everybody. We are one brain cell between all of us, and we actually got the Camille murdered because of that. So, give me 1 second, you guys.
Unfortunate there. You hate to see it go down like that. The very simple answer is Cull. It's a Cull. That's how you can tell that I play support, because that is never an item I touch in my day-to-day life. And also most of my AD carries don't touch it. So that's Guigo really saying, hey, we're really trying to hit this mid-game spike. I want to cash in big on kind of our ability to abuse this Sejuani in the top lane, get that CS lead rolling, and then really kind of hit a power point around 12 to 14 minutes. But Parang picking up that solo kill does slow that plan down just a little bit. So, and that's Parang showing that, hey, even down 0-2 is still just fine in this matchup in the 1v1.
How you built the Cull, especially against these taking matchups, is that you were a little bit concerned about actually being able to cash in on it. So for the most part, this is kind of a band-aid for the Camille to get through this laning phase. It's less about thriving and it's more about just making sure that you can get through this laning phase, and that's actually allowing them to continually go for the plays against Parang on the Sejuani. It's actually allowing them to successfully complete them. So it's not necessarily a thriving lane, like you had pointed out. It's not necessarily like this. This Camille is literally just getting resources poured into her, trying to make it through this phase with as little damage as humanly possible. So we're on this Rift Herald, and it looks like we might actually... Oh, the Poppy misses here. Let's go ahead, Yeso. It looks like it still goes over to Canids.
Yeah, Cannon's able to pick it up. The dash in onto Aegis is going to be quite a bit of damage. Force the ult away from trouble there after flashing over the wall. Meanwhile, Parang going to catch Guigo there with the Sejuani ultimate, but Red Cannon's actually able to get out of trouble there. Wiz not able to land the ultimate onto Grevthar means that the Arya is able to still be there, posture and protect their jungler, and Red Cannons get out with the neutral objective victory.
All right, all lanes kind of in the same mid position. We do have an Ocean Drake on the map, so whoever decides they want to make that priority is going to have to create that priority in their lanes. It looks like we do have Titan going ahead and moving towards that mid lane, potentially to help Jojo out, potentially to also go ahead and bait this wave so that Grevthar can have more control over it. Perfect way not to crash it. Great way to treat your teammates, by the way. Just taking care of their waves so that they don't actually lose all of that gold. You love to see it. Just the boys, taking care of the boys, making sure everybody gets the gold that they need. It doesn't look to me like there's going to be very much aggression or priority towards Drakes, at least for not the first two on the side of Kabum. It does look like Red may be actually setting up for that. They're pushing in their lanes, and they're making sure that they have the space to do so. Meanwhile, Aegis is in their jungle, just going ahead to set up to make sure that he is available for this Ocean Drake. So It's not really that important of an objective. Nobody really wants it. It's more of a status symbol at this point, those first two Drakes, as far as I'm concerned. Both teams are like, do you want to take this? I guess I'll take it if I have to, just to move the game forward.
Yeah, definitely the way this is being played out is both teams just are of the opinion that, hey, if we can win a fight near the bot side, we'll take the Drake on top of it as like a consolation prize. But the focus is definitely not there. Both teams
No.
very much with their eyes set on getting
Oh,
these
slap
lanes
fight.
rolling, pushing waves, crashing them into towers, and building CS leads. And that is what so far House has been able to do in the mid lane, approaching about a 20 CS lead here so far on this Vex. Has looked very solid so far. Also has a kill to his name, so certainly a player to keep an eye on in this game. Was the kind of biggest bright point, it felt like to me, for Kabum in that first game that went south. Of course, Duds the Boy was a bit of a threat on the Aphelios, but the
Totally.
playmaking from House was really solid in that first game and does have that same potential here on the Vex here in game 3. So we'll see what he can do, but there's going to be an engage in the bot side. The ultimate for Wiz will launch the Rakan out of this fight, and that will be all the disengage that Kabum needs, as they will back away from this action.
All right, just poke it and see what happens. Like, no real action needs to take place. I think that one thing I'm a little bit concerned about is that neither team is really taking advantage of when they get one particular advantage. They're not necessarily snowballing it to grab objectives or anything. Everything's kind of off kilter in terms of timers and timing, which isn't really great for both teams for the kind of like team fighting snowballing that they want to do. So it's definitely a really interestingly slow game, especially for the last two that we saw. But given a little patience, a little bit of time, I still think that Red Canids is a good enough lead. I mean, it's not a great lead, but they have a good enough lead that they are still in a good spot with their scaling and the way they actually want to play this combination. Speaking of them being in a good spot, I think this is a great way to use Hextech Ultimatum with the true damage shield. You go ahead and take down Parang, and then what happens after this, Yeso?
Yeah, that's going to be the top laner going down. Parang is dead, and somehow they get the double kill, and Guico still lives. Grefthar with the clutch teleport in there to
Gross.
clean things up. What a play from the mid laner of Red Canids. That is going to be first item picked up for the Ahri, and Guigo survives by the skin of their teeth.
Gosh, being able to stay cool under a tower like that with just your Hextech Ultimatum and a true damage shield was actually pretty slick as well. Very fun to watch. If you take a look at the replay here, you can just kind of see how very like close this actually got to Guigo being taken out. And then it just doesn't happen. It's perfectly fine. Manages to walk away by using their body as temptation and getting them to domino in on the side of Kabum. It's a bit of a bummer to watch as a Kabum fan, but it is very slick on the side of Red Canids. A lot of trust and a lot of good team play, which I wouldn't say necessarily is their specialty or hasn't been in these last few games. So as we talk about agility and adaptability, it looks like they've learned a few things in these games.
Yes, they have, and the engage there onto
God,
Duds
that's
the Boy will secure
disgusting.
another
Oh
kill.
no,
And this should likely snowball into a tower.
Oh no, I just realized they're doing this rotating, like we used to have this rotating mobility world ult comp where you would kind of just wander around, pick up an extra teammate and start causing chaos. Yeah, exactly. But this is very much like a fun version of it where, you know, any teammate here is mobile enough to just go with your pack of roaming, red Canids.
Yeah.
To be able to take out and find these plays with good timing. So that was really slick, and I think we can probably see more of that mobility, more of that pack roam to maximize these timers and just sort of swoop in, grab a kill or two, and continue to push these lanes in with absolute force. And that's kind of the utility of this comp, is that if you get even two of them, you can still comfortably generally charm or dive or knock up or, get your resets on Viego. There's a lot of options here for just a three-piece to just roam through and destroy any of Kabum's setups. And that's really what's happening, is Kabum's trying to set up and Red just keeps walking in and kicking over the sandcastle. So I really like to see this. This is definitely a deviation from the last game. And you and I both said that, if we saw Red Canids lose this one, that we would be relatively confident of Kabum winning, but here they are popping open the base. This may be the earliest tower of the series so far, if I'm not mistaken, or at least it feels like it, and I'm gonna say it even if it's wrong because I want to.
Well, this looks like it'll be the first game where we don't see, as we mentioned last game, the red side 80 carry stacking the what is it? Plates and getting that first tower, right? It looks like it's going to be a
Yeah.
flip here with Red Canids getting things rolling on that top side here. So we'll see how things shake out on that front. Teton on the Zeri, pretty quiet early game. Honestly, got the level 1 kill
There's a
and
Zeri in this game?
assist. Yeah, right? Well, hey, she's coming. She's on her
She
way.
is.
Don't you
2-0 and
worry.
1 anyway. Like,
She
it's
will become a
crazy.
menace very soon.
Definitely, and she's just been like sort of a humble for. I always say this like about the like quote unquote weak side when there's not a lot of attention being paid. If you're an ADC who's a humble farmer, keeping your head down, being subtle, you will emerge terrifying during team fights. And that's look at
right
this
now?
already. Look, yeah, exactly. You called it, Yeso. Like it's literally just these love taps that are keeping them. They could turn on them easily, but they have decided not to because like look at this, monstrous.
Yeah, that's going to be the engage here on to Wiz. They're going to be able to shut down Grethar, which is huge. But down goes Duds the boy. Aegis has to flash away from Trouble Parang, trying to just be this big meatball in front of this fight. Wiz has to run away. Aegis trying to be a threat. Down goes the top laner. Parang is dead. And here comes Teton. Flash away to avoid that further damage. Is going to be able to CS a little bit and heal off of this wave. Has to be careful of House here. This is a very dangerous Vex as there's low health bars everywhere on the side of the Red Canids. Guigo in trouble, able to juke out one skill shot, avoids the next. The heal is so clutch there from JoJo
so
to
crazy.
keep Guigo alive, and they're able to get over the wall. Somehow the Red Canids survive. What a narrow margin for error that was, and the Red Canids get out.
All right, so that's another one for your portfolio. A beautiful
Thank
narration.
you.
Yes, the boop heal there that just managed to get him to walk away there was really cool, really neat, and fun to watch. I think that more than anything, even though Red Canids were on the retreat, that's the kind of team fight I want to see. I want to see these really interesting sidesteps. I want to see these really interesting plays, these mechanical outplays, because ultimately that's the hero part of the game. That's the fun part of the game. And I think that the meta has enabled them to play this way relatively effectively so far. Maybe not quite as consistently as other teams like Kabum, but this is what I like to see. They're having fun, they're in their element, and they're kind of flying by the seat of their pants. I feel like it's sort of a Naruto ninja arc here. We're watching the Chunin exams, okay? They're flying through the forest. Date Bayo.
My ninja way.
Yeah, it's super fun to just watch them like learn all of this stuff and like fly by the skin of their teeth, learn the power of friendship there with that Rakan heal. So really dynamic in my head, super fun. I am excited to see how this Drake actually pans out though. Can they do it again? Because they've had such a small margin of error here on the side of red. Kabum really has been doing a formidable job.
I just want to talk about the fact that JoJo was able to essentially solo zone 3 members there of Kabum on the Rakan. I mean, hey, I am a Rakan fan, and the grand entrance comboed with the ultimate certainly could be scary, but that was an interesting lack of aggression there from Kabum. Meanwhile, topside Guigo.
Birds aren't real, you know?
They're actually robots. They're spies.
Yeah, Kabum knows it. They're like, we're not crossing Nixon. Not today, Satan. We're not doing that. We're gonna let JoJo intimidate us. That Rakan is scary. That was really funny. It was almost like they just had this like lapse of like where they momentarily fell to sleep. When they could have easily turned on that Rakan and then maybe made something of it. But I do think that there is something to be said about this 3-0 Viego. You've got the 3-0 Zeri that I just finished mocking. Grevthar's on. I also had the lane pushed out. So I kind of respect Kabum for not taking the bait. But on the other hand, we wanted blood, right, Yeso?
Yes. Always.
Always.
The thing here from Red Canids is they've just gone. It's been a pretty solid game by the books. They are dotting their I's, crossing their T's, playing very cleanly here, as this is going to be the teleport in from Guigo to try and threaten House, but there's a teleport on its way from Kabum to try and keep their mid laner alive. It's Parang that has arrived, but will not be able to save House here. And guess what the problem is, Parang? You're not going to get the 1v1 anymore with Guigo. Grevthar is here for the assist, and you have to get out of here. Wiz trying to escape. The blast coded over the wall will not save Parang. It's a kill there for Grevthar, and maybe a possible dive here. The Yuumi attached to Wiz. What can Kabum do? The poke from Teton is very annoying. If you've played against Zeri, you know what I'm talking about. Especially, I cannot emphasize this enough. Zeri is so annoying poking with that during the laning phase through the walls in the bottom lane. I cannot stand it. I absolutely hate laning against it.
Yeah, oh, it's well, and it feels like just like 1,000 tiny bullets. You know what I mean? Like for a
Oh,
second there, you're like, I can withstand this. This is okay. And then it comes from like so far away, out of nowhere, from every wall, like dodging dash. Like it just is an irritating champ to play against. The
oh
well done,
no.
Wiz.
Wiz, the river does not belong to you, and Red Canids have punished you for daring to step into their territory. The spell shield would keep Duds the Boy alive. Does cost him, though, the flash to get back to the safety of that mid lane tier 2. Meanwhile, topside How is able to pick up the first tower for the side of Kabum here in this third game. And it is a very steep hill to climb here for Kabum. Just about a 7,000 gold lead here for the Red Canids as we eclipse that 20-minute mark. And Teton has been heavily invested in. Most gold in the game and has, by my quick maths, about a 2,300 gold lead over Duds the Boy.
Not supposed to do math on stream, but I think you've blessed us on this day by doing it accurately and
I try.
beautifully. Yeah. Well done. I'm actually pretty. I mean, to be completely honest, despite how much Parang has been subjected to being 1-5-1, genuinely held their own considering, and I don't think that this game is completely gone for Kabum. I think they've drafted relatively strong for that mid to late game, so it's just a matter of finding the correct picks, making sure that Tichan actually gets like taken down at the very beginning, or else there's going to be a problem. But then there's Guigo, the wild card. That Hextech ultimatum plus that shield means that they are actually soaking better than any bruiser we've seen so far in the series.
Did you notice that Teton just wall jumped into the entire enemy team of Kabum to ult and then immediately flash away?
Literally, that is such a BM I can't even begin to express. That was actually so funny.
I hope that was on accident, because if that was on purpose, it's like why
It was
would you just
mean.
waste your flash there, Teton?
Yeah, oh, yeah, either it was like just a spectacularly like scuffed BM
Yes.
or yeah, I'm gonna go with the optimist option. It was definitely a mistake. Definitely you sneezed and you accidentally hit a
It
button.
happens.
That's gotta be it, right? There's no way that somebody in Brazil would ever use a blast cone into an enemy team, use Hextech ultimatum, and then
That's not
fail
fair.
out. There's no
That's
way
not
anybody would do
fair.
that. They are showmen, Yeso, and we will show them the proper respect.
All right, you're right.
The tension's
I'm
getting to
sorry.
us.
Please forgive me. We are going to get a fight here, though, in the mid lane. Is Wiz getting right into the action, but is going to get taken down, but does get the setup for House to get in on the fun, but gets quickly taken out. Red Canids are too far ahead. Duds the Boy has been chased down by Grevthar, taken out there quickly by Aegis. Parang is down as well. That is a clean ace for the side of Red Canids. They have turned towards this Baron in 23 minutes. They want to put the finishing touches on a dominant victory to take the lead in this series.
Let me just tell you, I was so close to going on an aside about how Red Canids were not quite as strong in this one as Kabum's dominance, and then all of a sudden, it just got vicious. I'm really glad I didn't get on that aside, because now we're looking at a version of Red Canids that's actually handling Kabum. Kabum thinks that they, can be in the right place at the right time and manage to overcome by surprising Red Canids, but now Red Canids has the tools that even if they get caught out, even if they're a little surprised, even if they walk up to the dragon like they're about to do right now, they still can afford to. They're getting that itemization, they're getting that confidence as well. There's something to be said about that ironclad mental, am I right?
I couldn't agree more. The response here from Red Canids, they have really just kind of let that game 2 wash off their backs, right?
Yeah.
Didn't really hold on to that one, said, okay, hey, we kind of messed up a fight or two that really let Kabum snowball that one out of control. We really don't have to think all that much about it. Couple of adjustments in draft will be just fine, and it shows in their play in this game, because Red have looked the best that they have, honestly, in these playoffs here in Game 3, and it bodes well because they are looking to take the lead in this series and put Kabum's backs against the wall. Red Canids have their eyes set on a date with Furia next weekend, and they could take this win, they'll be one step closer to doing so. That bot lane tier 2 is going to fall 4 towers in the favor of Red Canids, and they have their eyes set on more. They've got that Baron buff. They're looking to chase down House. While
Oh
the
my
hard
god.
CC does not land, they still land a lot of damage there. House has to flash away, and just another threat neutralized in that top lane. He's just going to get caught momentarily, has to ult away from
Punishment?
trouble. Is it going to get caught by the stun of Wiz? Has to flash away, still running, is going to finally fall, but the rest of the team doing work here onto Parang, and guess what? Teton has arrived in the fight, and the Sejuani is down. Jojo looking to get in here, is going to get the knock up on Duds the Boy. Skrull cannot escape. The cat is down, and that is 3 dead on the side of Kabum. A triple kill for Guigo on the Camille. They're going to bust open the base.
Oh my god! One thing I love about this team is that once they get rolling and they can see the Nexus within their reach, they often will greed lose games by continuing to push. And this is one of those examples where this doesn't matter. This is winning them the game. And this kind of fun Moxie is also just fun to watch in general. It may not be strategically the most safe and sound thing, but that's kind of what I love about CBLOL is we've got a very safe meta in NA right now, which is, of course, where I live and where I watch, and I watch all the other regions, but this one in particular, they don't really care. They're willing to try, push the envelope a little bit, do some style points, throw up a Hextech ultimatum right in the middle of a team after using a blast cone and then just repelling out. It's fine. This is a fun game, and I'm really enjoying the fact that they actually managed to get away from that. So despite this punishment here that does end with Aegis dying, we do see Guigo going to have the foresight to go ahead and stop Parang from going, using the Hextech ultimatum, gets taken down by Titan, and then goes ahead, and they kind of like take that dub and they actually back off. Not normal for this team's attitude, but the correct strategic move, a sign of maturity, a sign of growth. Nobody knows the ISO, but we do see Guigo here getting caught out. We don't know how it happened. We just know that it happened.
Yeah, Guigo is going to go down there. And I think the biggest recognition from Red Canids in that fight, and it shows very much in that replay, is the amount of resources it cost Kabum just to take down Aegis.
Oh my
right?
god.
They invest the Yuumi ultimate. They invest the Sever ultimate, the Poppy ultimate as well, and it still takes them so long. And meanwhile, Aegis is just running away, biding time, letting the team come in for support. So Red Canids come in, they're like, hey, yeah, like, it's cool that you killed our jungler. I mean, yeah, he's pretty strong, but like, we have all of our ultimates available, and also we could just beat you over the head with our wallets. And they did exactly that. So that's Kabum, hey, trying to make something happen, and I would rather a team go down swinging in that fashion than just passively wait longer and longer and let the team progressively walk through your base. So I commend Kabum for going for it, but ultimately they are just too far behind, and it is too difficult to kill the priority targets on red.
Absolutely, yep. And then again, there's that point in a game where it's less about the team on the back foot or the losing foot to find plays and more about the winning team to make mistakes. And we're slowly encroaching upon that part of the game because, you know, like you said, they did the best they could, but it took forever to take Aegis down, and he died on purpose. He was like, you know, just a couple more footsteps for my buddies to get here, and they're just gonna take you out anyway. So now, you know, Red Canids is making perfectly acceptable sacrifices for massive, massive gains, and that's when you kind of know the game is becoming deeply unrecoverable. And speaking of unrecoverable, this may be our final push here. So what are your final words, if they are final words at all?
Here lies Kabum in game 3. That's all I have to say, because they're going to put up whatever defense they can here, but they're going to be hard pressed to keep red away from their Nexus. So much gold in the pockets of the squad. A 4-0-11 Zeri, 5-1-7 is the Viego. Red Canids have everything that they need to take this game. They knock down a second inhibitor down here in the bottom lane. Looks like they're going to take the patient approach, though. They look to be moving back, denying more gold here from the side of Kabum. They'll clear out their blue side jungle. They'll take another Drake here, maybe eyes on that Hextech Soul. I can imagine this game shouldn't get to Soul. Like, they're going to get the Soul point right now, but I feel like if this game goes another 5 minutes, that actually is very much in favor of Kabum.
Totally.
Because Red, you've got everything that you need to finish this game. If you want to grab a Baron just to make it a little safer and empower that push, fine. But that's really the only other thing you should have your eyes set on. Soul is a waste of time at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason in waiting around and letting Kaboom get any like of those potential picks. They still have a very formidable team fight. If they can get, that 3v5, that 4v5, they still can probably walk away with a good trade. So, deeply important not to waste time, not to dilly-dally, and also more than anything, not to get caught out. That would be the most disappointing thing with Red Canids lead right now. So, we're going to go ahead and as a team, as a full piece here, we're going to go and see if we can't get this Baron. Plus, we go coming in with the TP is not actually seen by Kaboom quite yet, so they aren't quite sure where he is, but I'd be pretty confident he's there.
Yeah, Charm is going to land onto Parang. It is going to take quite a bit to melt through the health bar there of the
Ew.
Sejuani, but
Oh my
Wiz
god.
has been taken low, and quickly to follow there. Parang is down, so is Wiz. Skuro has fallen as well. It's a double kill here for Guigo, and Duds the Boy will escape to the safety of their base, but it is not going to stand much longer. Red Canids have picked up the kills that they needed. They don't even care about this Baron any longer. It is a 5v2 push. House and Duds the Boy, the only members that stand between Red Canids and a victory in this game. House will go in and die for their efforts. Mid Inhib will respawn, but it will not matter. Duds the Boy is down. It's a clean ace for Red Canids, a clean game for the squad. They will take the lead in this series, and Kaboom